Oh yeah, this could be a good one. The pier. Coming from the Caveman Studios in Buffalo, New York. Welcome to Caveman Corner with your host, Jeff.
Captain Caveman!
Thanks.
Click subscribe and the bell. Do it now!
Hey, what's going on, guys? So,
Hey.
we have no Ken Shamrock. Ray's going to do him tomorrow. I moved my private from today to tomorrow to do the podcast with Ken. That was supposed to be done yesterday. So, Ray's going to try and handle it tomorrow. I'll be at the gym. What did you have to say? Why don't you introduce our guest and tell us a little about it? And then Charlie's got a story for us right off the jump. But Ken Shamrock and the Pier.
So tomorrow, hopefully we could do Ken Shamrock and Charlie Anzalone going to be my co-host. He's our guest for tonight too, so he got some stories about Ken Shamrock and the old UFCs.
All right, so, go ahead for it, Charlie. Let's hear the story.
I got a couple. One story. One story. He came to the pier. I was the DJ there. I was the music director there. I heard the DJs and stuff. So Ken and all them, Anthony Macias, everybody, we all went to the pier. Ken never had a whole lobster before. So he sits down at the dinner table. He picks the biggest lobster out of the tank. It was like a Godzilla lobster. And they cooked it. They brought it to his table. He's got the lobster, the bib on, and he had no idea how to open the fucking thing. He goes, what do I do? I said, I don't know. I never ate a whole lobster. So he's trying to crack the thing open. He just made a fucking mess. He had more of the lobster on him than he had in his mouth. He was just like, trying to crack it open and shit. I remember one time years ago, I forgot what event it was. Maybe it was in Buffalo. I'm not sure. But Ken's wife, his ex-wife, was looking for him, and she went and asked Andy Anderson, "Oh, where's Ken?" "Oh, he's out with Charlie." So she gets a hold of me. "Where's Ken?" I go, "Oh, he's with Andy." Well, right then, she knew he wasn't with either one of us. I never know where he went. Oh, yeah, she was pissed.
For anyone that doesn't know, Charlie was involved with the early UFCs. We've had him on the podcast before. He's a great guy. Always has great stories about the old days, and that's why we like him so much.
Oh, yeah. That's.
I worked with a lot of interesting fighters, and I give a lot of guys their break, and I book guys in pro Shudo in Japan, which is the best event ever. And K1 and Pride, I brought Chuck Liddell to the UFC when my partner One Kick Nick found him for me. I needed an alternate, and he goes, "Well, we got a guy, our friend Chuck Liddell. He's an amateur Kepo kickboxer, and he wrestled at Cal Poly for like a year." I said, "Okay, that's good enough if he can wrestle," and that's how he got his first UFC against Noe Hernandez. And then a Brazilian promoter friend of mine, Sergio Bottarelli from Sao Paulo, comes up to me and goes, "Your guy's tough. I want him to come to Brazil and fight Pelé." I said, "Pelé's a legend. This is Chuck's an amateur kickboxer. This is his first ever MMA fight." So I go, "Well, how much does Pelé weigh?" He goes, 175 pounds. I said, "Well, Chuck's going to weigh 205. And he goes, "Okay." And he offered us, I think it was back in 1998, 99, whatever, like $5,000 cash. And that was a lot of money back then, if you got paid. So I said, "We want half the money up front." So I sent him down there to fight Pelé. It's on YouTube, Chuck Liddell versus Pelé. Brutal, like 30-minute.
I believe it's on UFC Fight Pass too.
Oh yeah,
I got the DVD. Also, your Caveman, did you see that fight?
I did not see that fight.
You gotta watch that one. You could hear One Kick Nick in the corner. He's on top of Pelé, and you could hear Nick going, "Drag his ass over here." And Chuck grabs him by the legs and drags him across the ring into the corner where One Kick Nick is pounding the shit out of him. The Brazilians fell in love with him. That's what they used to have It wasn't a cage; it was a ring, and they had a net on the bottom rope, so a fighter couldn't sort of sneak out of the ring, you know. Because if he did, the fans at ringside would push him back in. So they had.
I was love to have the guys like holding the ref would hold the rope, so it'd be like more taunt when they push up against the ropes.
Oh, down there, the old Valley Tudo, they did anything they wanted.
My favorite moment in the ring is when Vanderlei Silva's holding the rope, soccer kicking. I can't remember if it was Fujita or someone else. Just soccer kicking this guy in the face, and the ref is slapping his hand because he can't hold the rope while he's soccer kicking the guy in the head. That was like, that's like one of the funniest moments of Pride to me.
My old friend Vanderlei, he moved back to Brazil, wanted to raise his kid in Brazil, but he still has real estate here. He's got like 2 homes, real estate he rents out and stuff. Yeah, he was smart with his money. I said, Van, you save any of that money you made in Japan? You still got some money? He goes, every penny. He goes, I wasn't born rich. My father told me money is to save. So he was smart with his money.
That's good, man. That's good to hear about.
Had a lot of good times with him in Japan at the Shudo Valley Tudos every year. Yeah. I used to be the guest ring announcer for the Shudo Valley Tudo. That was a lot of fun. I ring announced the Ensign Inouye Frank Shamrock fight and the Ensign Inouye Randy Couture fight. And that's when all the best fighters from like all around the world went to the Shudo Valley Tudo in Japan once a year. And it was just great. Anybody fought in the Shudo Valley Tudo.
That's crazy. Like people.
Yeah.
Hey Charlie, who's your favorite fighter of all time in MMA?
In MMA, I gotta say George St. Pierre. That and Nick Diaz.
Okay.
That's quite the opposite kind of fighter.
Yeah, I was the inspector. When I was the inspector for Nevada Boxing Commission. I was the inspector in Nick Diaz's corner when he fought Robbie Lawler, and that was his debut in the UFC. And he hit Robbie Lawler so hard. After he knocked him down, he looks at his hand like this, like, "Oh shit, I hit him that hard."
Man, you knew him before he was like the Thug Diaz. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, he was great. And when he fought St. Pierre, I was in his corner. And as an inspector, he was so pissed off because he wanted to fight, and St. Pierre just wanted to lay on top of him. And after the fight, we're walking back to the dressing room. He goes, Chuck, get me back to my dressing room. I want to get my $500,000 and get the fuck out of here. He was man.
Bunch of guys smoked weed with him when he was up here for FCT.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
They're all telling
Scott Skinner smoked weed with
Scott Skinner and Bubba and all them guys.
Yes, he was the best. He was so toasted in the Pride fight here in Vegas when he fought Gomi. They were both so bloody and beat up. He didn't feel a thing. And that's when he failed his marijuana test. That's when, and they suspended him for like 5 years or something like that. Really, that was a bad suspension.
It's so crazy that you get suspended longer for weed than you would for like steroids. Like,
oh, that was a stupid fucking decision.
That's so insane.
Hey Charlie, everybody thinks when fighters fight in Japan, like all the Pride fighters was on steroids. You think that was true, or?
I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody that was ever tested there. They did an HIV test, right. and blood. But those guys are so jacked up. They came once they came over here. They were mortal human beings.
Yeah.
And I did Gary Goodrich's deal in Pride for 1 year in that late 90s, and that included his first fight in K1. Mr. Ishii said, "Oh, I must have the big arm wrestler. I need the big black arm wrestler in K1." That's how we got in K1. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him recently? I heard he's been having a lot of cognitive problems.
Who's that?
Gary Goodrich?
Yeah, like what we just talked about 5 minutes ago. He wouldn't remember what we talked about.
Yeah.
He was just all hell bent, man. He either knocked you out or he got knocked out. He just was a wild man, Took a lot of shots.
Yeah.
I forgot. Who's the Legend of the Cage guy? I apologize. I forgot.
Oh, Brian Moore.
Brian Moore was all about working with Gary Goodrich. They did a documentary about him and a lot of stuff. So if anyone's listening or watching, check that out. It's like really good stuff.
He was a great guy. Never stiffed me out of money. My percent for doing a deal for him, and he just a good guy, great guy. And I hate to see, I've seen a lot of fighters end up that way. You look at guys like boxing, like Shane Mosley, even he's talking slow now, but he didn't take that much punishment. He was a great defensive fighter, but it doesn't take much, when you have a long career.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do so much damage in the gym too.
Oh, and that you don't know about.
Yeah, you don't see, like, you don't know half the damage these guys are taking, man. They're wars in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guys like to spar every day.
Maury Smith made a good point years ago. He said, we train all week. He goes, we're usually about 70%, but one day we go hard. And he goes, that's how you learn to react to a punch and to a kick. And no sense in taking all that punishment 5-6 straight days in a row. You do your training, but one day, there you go. Let's see if we can take this punch,
Yeah.
That's but yeah, you don't know, especially boxers, you don't know how, they're in the Philippines, they're in Mexico, they're in the gyms, they're wherever. You don't know what if they've been knocked down 10 times during their training before a fight, you just never know.
Such a tough sport.
Oh, I've seen some boxers, so one guy, died the next day after a fight, and there was another one, this Filipino fighter, Zigorza. He was fighting, up-and-coming guy. He was on a Pacquiao undercard. And it was the day before the big Pacquiao fight. And ESPN did a show at the House of Blues. And this guy had the whole Philippine crowd there that was there to see Pacquiao the next night. And they're cheering, yelling. He beat this guy from pillar to post. In the last round, the guy knocked him down. And he got up and finished the fight. Of course, he won a unanimous decision. Now here's the guy never been knocked out, or knocked down, and he's after the fight, he's waving the Filipino flag, and the place is going crazy. And I'm looking at him because the inspector was supposed to keep an eye on their fighters, that whose corner we're in, and I could see him wobbling a little bit, and he came walking towards me, and like almost collapsed right on my arms. And I looked at the doctor even before it. I said, "Look at him! Look!" I'm pointing to the doctor. Watch! And he's wobbling. And then and in that instant, because I saw the doctor wave to him, because I noticed he was wobbly on the other side of the ring. They had a stretcher right at ringside for him. I bent down and they zipped him on a stretcher and brought him to the hospital. And he was in the hospital for like a couple of months, a little brain damage, but then he survived and that. And one doctor said, he goes, "Chuck, you might have saved that kid's life, reacting as fast as you did." I said, "Yeah, I could see him, and he wasn't touched the whole fight. This was the last round of a 10-round fight. Just takes one.
Yeah.
Just takes one."
Anytime you see guys in there and they take a knee, man, like, you gotta respect it sometimes.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Charlie, do you think it was like a shot in the back of the head?
Oh, that's the worst.
Right.
The top and back here is the softest part of your skull, That's why with the Muay Thai, when they did it here in Nevada, and we brought K1 here, when Art Davey brought it here, the first thing, no 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock elbows right here, because that's the most dangerous place to hit somebody. And those are the rules with the UFC later on, And but punches behind the head, rabbit punches, yeah, that's not good. Some are not on purpose. You're ducking a punch when the guy's throwing another punch and he gets you into the back head. Nothing you can do,
Yeah.
That's a decision for the ref to make.
It's tougher in MMA too. Like in boxing, like it's pretty easy to tell. But in MMA, like the guys turn and everything's moving so
Oh, they
fast. It's pretty easy to
twist
hit
and
in the back of the
turn
head.
and lean. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's like,
And
and
then
it
the guys are
happens.
like, yeah. Then the guys are like, "Oh, you hit me in the back of the head." I was like, "Dog, you were moving all over the place." Like,
Well, but yeah, and the referee will say, just, it's okay. It's good. Keep fighting.
yeah,
But, wasn't on, you could tell if it's on purpose or not.
yeah, for sure. And it's
No.
so easy to get hit in the back of the head when you're in those scrambles.
Oh, absolutely. Or get kneed in the head accidentally when you're, like the UFC in Buffalo, when Chris Weidman was fighting, what's his name? He was in a 4-point stance, and 1 second he lifted his hand up. Remember, and he got kneed in the head,
Yep.
and he was complaining, "Oh, you need me in the head." And if you watch the replay, it was just a fraction of a second, but his hand was up, and that's when he got kneed.
It's definitely a lot better than the Aljo one.
Oh, that was the worst. There's some good fights.
I can't believe that his whole team was saying, knee him. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes the corners don't do. One thing you'll see in kickboxing or Muay Thai or something, or in Pride or boxing, not Pride, I mean K1, a good corner will throw in the towel. Like, okay, you've had enough. In MMA, they let their guy get the living daylights beaten out of them. And their philosophy is, well, in MMA, I've seen guys come back, they've been beaten, and they come back and get a submission. I said, in the meantime, he's getting brain damaged. I mean, it's a judgment call for you, because a trainer doesn't want to think that, oh, he's not a good trainer. He had to throw the towel in for his fighter. Or in boxing, boom, here comes the towel. It's save your guy for another day.
So me and Ray call the fights for K4, which is like a local promotion, as MMA promotion. And we saw in a Muay Thai fight, the corner came in and stopped the towel, or threw in the towel for their fighter, Ryan Grun from Pittsburgh, or from, I'm not sure what the name of the gym is. I'm sorry. I know Ryan. I trained with Ryan a whole bunch. I forgot the name of his gym, like when the spotlight's on me. But I was so proud that they came in and they stopped the fight. Their guy had a really bad weight cut. He was having a hard time breathing, and they actually stopped the fight. You don't see that too often in amateurs, so I thought that was a really, really good sign for.
Yeah, I've seen guys stop. I threw in the towel in UFC 1 when Gerard Gordeau was pounding Kevin Rozier.
R.I.P.
Oh yeah, rest in peace.
That was my boy. Boy, he had his demons.
Hey, I remember the story you told us in when you first got on the podcast about he was on ECMC and he called in for Lenovo's Pizza.
Oh yeah. Lenovo's Joy Tadaro sponsored all my events, amateur kickboxing and everything, and he sponsored us in UFC 1. I said, where all your Lenovo stuff? If you can maybe give us a little travel money or do something or whatever. So we had all the Lenovo gear on. If you see some of the pictures of the old UFC.
Yep.
So the night of the UFC, his father, Joe, and his grandfather, Papa Joe, and the boys were having a card game. And they had a big screen TV on. You remember with the cheater box, and the big, the old, yeah. that everybody had. And they're playing cards, and they go, "Look, Joe, Lenovo's on pay-per-view." And he goes, the cards went up in the air. Everybody was screaming, yelling, hollering. Your guy was pounding this guy on the head, stomping on his head. And they got all excited. So we got, when I got back to Buffalo, that's when they told me the story about what happened when they were playing cards. So a little while later, Kevin was in Buffalo General on the 10th floor. And you know what the 10th floor is. And, that's where all the people with mental issues are.
Yeah.
So he calls up Lenovo's. He goes, Mr. Tadaro, this is Kevin Rozier, the fighter that you sponsored on pay-per-view TV, can I get a free pizza and a sub sandwich? And he goes, well, okay. Well, where do you want it delivered to? I'm at Buffalo General on the 10th floor. He goes, I know where you are.
Yeah.
So he sent the whole floor. He sent about 10 pizzas and 20 subs and shit to the 10th floor for free.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's a true story.
Oh,
What happened to your red coat? For everyone that doesn't know, man, you had this awesome red coat.
I had the red tuxedo jacket I wore in UFC 3. I was offered a lot of money for that. You know what happened? I rented that, and I should have kept it. What I did when I got back to Buffalo, I brought the fucking thing home, and then I had people offer me all kinds of money for the fucking thing.
Yeah, that's like a collector's item, man. That was like one of the most iconic.
That was that night. One of the creative directors for the UFC was John Milius. John Milius was a screen doctor, screenwriter. He did the Octagon, Predator, Apocalypse Now. And he told the UFC, he told Rorion Gracie was teaching his kid jujitsu. And he said, you can teach my son jujitsu. You can use my name as a creative director or whatever. After that UFC 3 with Harold Howard and the red tuxedo jacket and the people throwing shit at me, he goes, Charlie created the first character of the UFC. He's the evil manager everybody hates.
Harold Howard's the best guy too. If you're coming on, come on.
If you ever see Tito Ortiz, ask him about that. He goes, Charlie, that was the best line ever in the fucking UFC.
He's my favorite fighter, dog. Like I want to get a hold of him. You got to hook us up with his information because.
I heard he's in Toronto. He's on Facebook, I think.
Yeah, I would love to have him on this podcast. I'm like a huge Harold Howard fan.
He was amazing.
Him and Roland.
Most fun-loving guy. Oh, at the UFC in Buffalo, what a promotion that was. The weigh-in and the drawing for the fighters was in New York City at Boomer Esiason's bar. They flew us there just for the afternoon. And Dennis Rodman did the draw for the fighters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
At Boomer Esiason's bar. And we're at the airport waiting for, or we're somewhere waiting for where the hell were we? Maybe at the airport. Some kid goes up to, I saw you in UFC 3. He goes, you tapped out. He goes, I never tapped out. I got, what he said, he goes, I got beat up like a real man. He said, he goes, I got punched out like a real man.
Yeah.
God.
You were on the back of the box of UFC 3. Like when you went to rent the cassette, you were on the back of the box in that red outfit. I'll never forget.
Oh, that was
so many times.
That was a classic.
Yeah.
I said I got to do something, and we had to fight a fresh alternate because Hoist Gracie couldn't continue, and I think that was the night Ken Shamrock was supposed to fight too.
Yeah, he pulled.
Well, he fought Felix Mitchell. Felix Mitchell was kneeling his knees and it's like, and he wouldn't come up. So we had to. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight if he wasn't going to be able to fight Hoist Gracie, who had pulled out. Then he didn't want to bother fighting. That's what it was all about. He ain't bullshitting anybody. So they after Hoist Gracie threw in the towel and we moved on, Art Davey comes up to me and goes, Harold Howard's got to fight a makeup fight. I said, no. Hoist Gracie, father, they threw in the towel. And and producer of the television of the UFC, the TV producer, Michael Pilak, goes, Art, no. They threw in the towel. Harold Howard moves on. He goes to the final. And I'm like, yeah. And Art was mad. And that was the night on the way back to the dressing room after Harold beat, I think it was Roland Payne. We're walking back to the dressing room, and of course, people are throwing shit at me in my red tuxedo jacket. I'm in tag. I'm pissed at the crowd. I'm like, fuck you, you know. And the producer, Michael Pilot, goes, if Harold Howard wins the final, have a camera on Charlie because you know he's going to do something stupid. Oh, I was ready. But anyway, Harold will walk him back to the dressing room, and they had these big giant lights that were going up and down, and the smoke machine was on. So we were walking through back to the dressing room, and bam, knocked Harold Howard out. Walked head on into it. And the line producer took off his headphones and goes, oh, no. I thought somebody threw a bottle out of the stands at me and hit him. But, yeah. And
it's so crazy. There are so many backstage accidents at the UFC in the old days. Because someone else got knocked out jumping up and down, too. Jesus Christ. Mark Coleman's friend. The gentleman that died.
Kevin Randleman.
Randleman.
Yeah, Randleman knocked himself out backstage too.
Oh, there was so much shit that went on. But so we're back in the dressing room, and Harold's like, "What the fuck, eh?" And they come back. Harold, we'll get an alternate. You don't have to fight if you're injured. And he goes, $50,000, eh? That's a lot. That's U.S. dollars. That's a lot of Canadian. So we're good to go. We're good. I said, we're good to go. We're good to go. So if you see Harold walking out, he's got a towel. His neck was jammed. You can see him with a towel around his neck walking out to the octagon.
Yeah.
That jammed his neck. Well, that can had to be 12 inches in diameter. The big colored lights going up and down. Yeah. Boom! Right in the head.
I know exactly what you're talking about too, because they kept panning to it during the show when the walked out. I know exactly the lights you're talking about. They're huge.
You know, and Harold is a tall guy. And he walked, and the fog machine was on. He walked right on the fucking thing.
Oh, damn.
Oh, then he got beat by Steve Jenham, the fresh alternate.
Yeah, he got beat up by a cop.
Tried to do some flip kick or something. And,
a cartwheel. Right? Oh, it wasn't. Yeah.
You know, Harold goes back to the days, the full contact karate days with the Billy Blanks, Nasty Anderson, some of the top full contact karate guys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
He always reminds me of Jean-Claude Van Damme's friend in Bloodsport, the one that got beat up.
Yeah.
Like, whoever played that guy, like there's so many similarities between. Like, I love Harold Howard so much. He's like Ray knows he's my favorite guy. We've been trying to get.
Wait, you know, he fought Billy Blanks in the movie TC 2000. Yeah. He was in Gladiator Cop with Lorenzo Lamas. He did a lot of stunt work. Oh yeah. He did a lot of stunt work in films that were made up in Canada. You know, it was cheaper to film up there. Oh yeah.
Should have been in Highlander too. That would have been awesome.
With the mullet.
I'd like to see a video highlight of him driving his truck through the casino in Niagara Falls.
Oh, I would like to see that too.
Man. He was pissed. Run over his girl or something.
He was pissed off at his ex or girlfriend or wife, ex or whatever, and he beat up her boyfriend and then drove his truck right through the fucking door of the casino where she was working.
I like him more. It's my kind of guy. Oh man.
But that's a good one. Hey Charlie, you know any good stories with Frank Shamrock?
We went out a lot. I mean, I co-promoted the event in New Orleans with my old ex-partner. He's passed away. Rest in peace, Les Bonanno. We got it approved. We got the UFC approved at Mississippi and in New Orleans. That's when he suplexed. What's his name?
The Russian guy, Igor Zanova.
Igor Zanova. Suplexed him in like 17 seconds or something like that. I mean, and the matchmaker, John Pritigan, history's going to be made tonight. Igor Zanova is going to destroy Frank Shamrock. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And it happened so fast, we thought he was fucking dead. And broke his collarbone and knocked him out. Just an instant.
Something similar was going to happen to Rose when she got slammed. Nam Nunes.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, it was like a very similar kind of throw. Like, not really a similar throw, but similar landing.
Yeah, Zanova, he landed on his head and shoulder. Just And it happened so fast. It was like lightning. Boom. Frank, I think, was the overall best MMA fighter ever.
Think you better GSP or BJ Penn?
Absolutely. Because he could do everything.
Yeah.
He was a good shoot fighter. He's good in pancrase, but in UFC and in MMA, but he went to Japan because there was more money than made there. UFC wouldn't pay him.
Mhm.
And look who I had a guy, Todd Butler, in the UFC as a undercard guy, and that's the night Frank Shamrock submitted the Olympic champion. What's his name?
Kevin Jackson.
Yeah, coach of the Olympic team. Yeah, and that's how good he was. He
And he
fucking
did that
submitted
super
an
quick-
Olympic
that was
champion.
another super quick armbar. That was like what, 30 seconds?
No,
Less
yeah,
than 30 seconds?
devastated. Frank could do this flying armbar thing.
That's when I fell in love with Frank. Like I
Oh.
wasn't sure if I liked him or not, but then man, like I love Kevin Jackson. Like I grew up watching Kevin Jackson wrestle, like he was one of my heroes. And then like Frank just smashed him. I was like, oh man, this dude's for real.
Yeah, and but that was after Frank got really wrecked by Boss Rutan in pancrase.
Yeah.
I mean, kneed him in the head. He went right over the ropes.
Ray
And
was
then-
gonna ask about that in the interview.
And then Ken avenged that loss and beat the crap out of Boss Rutan.
Mhm.
But Frank, but overall, I mean, he beat Ensign Inoue, and he armbarred Randy Couture a year later in the UFC Valley Tudo.
I like
It was
when
either him or Ensign Inoue. Inoue armbarred Randy Couture, and that's when Randy.
Oh yeah.
Frank and I don't think they ever fought. Definitely armbarred.
Ensign Inoue armbar. I was the announcer there. I'm the one who announced and brought him to the ring, and then Dikey announced them once they were in the ring.
Mhm.
I was the guest ring announcer.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was a poor man's Michael Buffer back then.
the Family Dollar Michael Buffer. Oh,
They loved me over in Japan. Oh yeah, I brought Jim. I booked John Lewis against Ruben Asado in their second fight. I brought Dean Thomas to Shudo, and
He was
who
just
else?
on Rogan. He was just on Rogan the other day, Dean Thomas. He was so good, him and Matt Serra. That was such a good podcast. If you guys are like, if you listen to us, don't turn us off and listen to another podcast. But when you're done with this podcast, go listen to Dean Thomas and
I'm so happy where Dean Thomas is now. I booked his first real fight over in Japan. Yeah,
yeah.
I brought him
You
there twice.
Tony Carter on too with Kung Lee.
Tony Carter, yeah. Joel Sutton was training in California at American Chinese Martial Arts, and that's where he met Kung Lee. And years ago, I almost got Kung Lee into the UFC.
Been an early start. That would have been a lot better for his career, probably.
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah. Joel Sutton said, you got to see this kid Kung Lee. Man, he's good. And that almost happened.
Joel was a savage. I train with him a little bit too sometimes, and trained with Kevin Rozier a couple times. But he was a little bit it's a little trouble when we trained with him. By the time we trained with him.
Hey, Caveman, you and Primo used to Primo Luciano used to train with Kevin, right?
Yeah. He would get so mad, like, don't do that armbar shit. Yeah. I saw him at Castor Combs the last time I saw him, and he didn't even remember who I was.
Yeah.
Like,
I went to his funeral, his thing they had there in Buffalo. What a shame.
Yeah. It's tough to watch fighters. Like, some guys come out and they seem fine, and man, some guys are just changed forever.
Kevin used to do a lot of coke and shit and all that, And then he was a manic depressant. He'd be taking lithium and coke, and he his ex-wife didn't do him any favors either, and she was hoping he would croak. What a shame. But he's married like 3 times, has about 5 kids and 3 different women. In UFC 1, did you ever see Kevin Rozier's son? His oldest son? looks like his twin,
Mm.
exactly like his father.
That poor kid. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey,
I hope
Charlie,
he turns out better. But
hey, Charlie, what you thought when Kevin was there was an interview and he was like, "What's your strategy?" He was like, "Let him hit me."
yeah, let him hit me. The other guy tired out. Yeah, Zane Frazier.
Were you the mastermind of that great plan?
Well, what happened was we expect, it's an 8-man tournament. Okay, we won the fight. Let's go rest. Let's go take a breather, get some ice and some stuff. And 10 minutes later, they go, Kevin Rozier, you're up. You're up. The fights were only lasting like a couple of minutes. And, we thought we'd have like a good 20-minute break or so, And they come back a few minutes later. You're up. You're up. We had to fight Gerard Gordeau. Yeah.
How good was Gerard Gordeau? Like he
Oh,
looked
very
so
good.
good. Like
He was a good stand-up fighter.
yeah.
Very good stand-up fighter. Yeah. Great guy. He's a biker. He's the only guy where his gym is in The Hague. They got biker gangs here. They got the Hells Angels. They got a few others, and you don't wear your colors if you're not one of the few. But he had his colors on. Kamakura Gym, The Hague, Holland. Nobody fucked with him. He goes, I'm going to wear my colors on my Harley anywhere I want. Yeah, he was very well respected.
He seemed like a gangster. Everyone always said he was like a Nazi.
Oh,
When he came out, of course, the UFC was owned by Jewish guys, and, and Gerard Gordeau comes walking out into the ring, boom, 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 to all four sides of the ring, and David Isaacs goes, "Did he just do a Nazi salute?" And I'm like, "Oh, that was so funny." Yeah. Oh, they were white supremacists. Yeah, when we were in Denver, they went up. They went up into the woods. They went up to visit some biker guys there. White supremacists. They went up in Denver. Yeah, there. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
I went hanging out with them. It was me, Sean Doherty, and
Sean.
I had Sean here, and he's
he
like,
was
"Hey,
he
bro, you
was
want
a
some acid?" I'm like,
he
"No,
was
I'm about to do a podcast." He's like, "Well, you should have some acid for sure." I'm like, "I'm not taking acid from you, dog, for sure."
I remember when I put him in the UFC, he was the youngest ever to be in the UFC at the time. He was 18 years old. So we were hanging out. It was me, him, Gerard Gordeau, Freck Hammaker, and one of their other Dutch buddies with the wire rim Nazi glasses on. And we're going to this nightclub in Denver. And I said, Sean, come up with a fake Dutch accent and tell them you don't have your ID. You left your passport in a hotel. That's how he got into this fucking nightclub when he was 18 years old.
Yeah. I like Sean a lot. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah,
I rolled him quite a bit when he was up in town.
Yeah.
I remember when he was homeless. He was just about homeless. He came here to train, lived at Kevin Rosier's gym, and he didn't have a place to live, and back where he's from. And then I got him in the UFC, introduced the people. He ended up joining the Lions Den, for a while, and started, but yeah, he'll always say, he goes, I was homeless until I met Charlie Anzalone and I helped him out. I liked the kid. I was just to give people a chance,
He's training with Mel Fisher now, and like he's on the local scene in Ohio. So like we see him every now and then. It's always good to watch him, man. Like
he's from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's awesome. So he's back home, really.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah.
I thought he was from California for some reason. I don't know why I thought that.
But I know he's from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. I don't know where he's training now, but he came to Vegas a couple of times. We got together.
Yeah, he's in I don't know. He's like by Strong Style. I don't know where exactly he is, but he's by Strong Style right now.
Yeah, he's a good kid, good boy. I'm happy for him. He went in the Air Force for a while, and then he got he's married now, and yeah, he's doing well.
He used to be a Mormon.
Oh yeah.
I mean, here's the Mormon story. So like, he's a very entertaining interview for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, Las Vegas here is all Mormon, just about. You know, and a lot of your Hawaiian fighters, Islanders, they're all Mormons. Yeah, I worked with a lot of Islanders at the airport, my day job, and we were talking. You know, I said, "Why are you guys all Mormon?" He goes, "Well, the Mormon missionaries went through the Pacific, converted our grandparents, years ago. That's why we're all Mormon." Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you ever feel like you missed out on all the money in the UFC? Can you imagine, like, if you're a manager now, like the money that you would have made instead? You wouldn't have had to have the airport job. Like everything would be so different.
Yeah, but you didn't know where it was going to go back then. But I made good money. I got 10, 15%. Gary Goodrich's deal, that was over $100,000 for 1 year. I got 15%.
Yeah,
All I
not
did was
bad.
send faxes. And everybody else, I got 10%, 15%. And I got to go to Japan with them. I did the first IFC in Kiev in the Ukraine. I made more money with freaking flyer miles. Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Is that the one where they hit all the tapes? Is that the IBC where they hit
Oh,
all the
I had to
cassette
smuggle
tapes?
the tape out of Ukraine. Ah.
Oh shit! Look at you. You were all prepared. God damn.
well, let me tell you about that event. It was backed by a Ukrainian mob, and they put up the money. I mean, Ukraine, give it's so corrupt. They asked me if I'd be the last minute ring announcer. I said, "Oh shit, I don't have any thing to." I was like the event coordinator. I don't have anything to wear. So Buddy Albin, a promoter, gave me his suit coat. Ron Van Cleef gave me his tie, and that was my ring announcer outfit. And I had to announce all these Russian oligarchs, if you want to call them that. One guy owned GM Ukraine, Canada. Another guy owned this. Another guy. I go, how am I going to pronounce these fucking guys' names? This arena was packed in Kiev, and so I spelled them out the way they sounded. And that's how I announced their names. And then somebody, I would do it in English, and then they had a guy in Russian at ringside. Ukraine, do it in Russian. And then he heard something, Charlie, he must have said, "Your ring announcer, Charlie Anzalone," and the whole place started roaring. I'm like, hey. Well, who this guy was, this Russian guy who was doing, we'd alternate. I'd announce in English, he'd announce in Russian. So we're talking afterwards. He goes, "You're from Buffalo, New York." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You know Alexander McGillney?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's in my club every night. And when I worked at Kicks, he goes, "I was with Alex when he left." He goes, what the hell did he say? He goes, "We were going to the airport to get the flight after I think they were playing in Norway or Sweden or someplace." And he goes, "I was with him when he left. Now he's rich, good for him." So I get back to the club. I think I wrote down his name and address and all that. My picture with this guy was on the front page of the Kiev newspaper the next day. So, "Hey, Alex, you know this guy?" And he looks at it, looks at me, looks at it. "Where do you know him from?" So I was just in Kiev, and I met this guy. He said he's happy you're making a lot of money. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was, yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Did you ever see a thing on YouTube about Alexander McGillney?
No.
How they got him to Buffalo?
No, I never saw that.
Oh, you got to do it. Alex McGillney, Buffalo Sabres. It's a documentary. How the KGB looking for him, the Russian army looking for him. He was with the hockey team. They had to smuggle him from hotel to hotel, town to town in Sweden and Norway and shit, and get him on a plane to get here. People from the Sabres are there, some of the Buffalo media. Oh yeah, it would make like a thriller movie.
Man, that's awesome.
How they got? Oh yeah, how they got him there. Yeah. And a guy helped him. Alex paid him a bunch of money and helped him The guy helped smuggle Alex out of there. But then they had to go from town to town, hotel to hotel, and hope the KGB didn't find him for defecting from the Russian hockey team. He was the first one to do it. And watch it. It's pretty crazy.
Man, I know. I got some required watching tonight.
And now he's back in Russia. He went back after he retired from hockey. He's coaching hockey there.
Oh wow,
that's cool. I'm glad they didn't shoot him.
Yeah, I can't believe he went back. But I say, Alex, where are you from? He goes, as far east as you can go, where it's fucking colder than Buffalo. He's from like Siberia. Yeah, he's from eastern Russia. Yeah.
No wonder he skates so fast.
Alex Mogilny.
Mm-hmm. That was a superstar for the Sabres. Oh my God.
Oh, he was. They just, they got robbed in the one Stanley Cup. I think the goal no goal. Dominic Hasek was pissed.
Brett Hall, right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
McGillney was livid. That was the Stanley Cup right there.
Yeah.
And all the years with before Hasek, they had the French connection. They had all these other great players, but we didn't have the goaltending. We finally got the goaltender, the best goaltender ever, and we got robbed, I think.
Best to play the game ever, for sure. Even though I think Harold Howard's the best fighter ever, I think you're wrong with Frank Shamrock. I'm just saying.
Hey, Charlie, what do you think about this slapping competition when they just sit there and slap each other?
I think it's kind of stupid, but somebody get really fucking hurt. If you miss the fucking side of the face and hit somebody in the temple, you'll kill the fucking guy.
Yeah.
That one guy's face was pretty messed up. That Russian guy.
Swollen, right?
Yeah. I like, because they can't slip a punch or anything. They got to stand there. And so people's brains are rattling against their skull, I like when a little guy whacks a big guy.
My favorite was when that blonde girl got hit and she got like all messed up and she fell down, did a forward roll and stood up like, whoa, and then she fell down again. That was funny. I like that. That was one of my favorite videos from the slap contest. We actually got to get that Cole Young guy on. We should get him on, right? He's local. He fought MMA locally too. So,
right. Caveman, he's from Rochester, right?
Yeah, he's in a power slap league with Dana White, so we should get him on too. Talk about power slap.
I don't know what Dana was thinking with that. Because that was done in Russia and stuff like that, and over in Eastern Europe and stuff. And he thought he'd start a new thing, and
he put a lot of money in that.
He said they paid him a big deal.
They must have paid him a ton of money to do that. Like
that cable network, I don't know.
And a lot of views too. They get.
Yeah. It's funny because it came out right when he slapped his wife, so it was like perfect. Like, it was almost like he did on purpose.
Who cares if Dana and his wife were drunk and they got in a fight? Who cares? Dana wasn't the first. Dana was the first choice to run the UFC when the Fertitta brothers bought it. It was John Lewis, and John Lewis turned it down. He just wanted to be the matchmaker. And they said, "Well, we got to have you run a show, John. We already got a matchmaker." And he passed it down. He told Dana, because he was teaching Dana the Fertitta's jiu-jitsu at his JSEC Jiu-Jitsu studio here in Las Vegas, John Lewis. And he was saying, I got a lot of other stuff going on and stuff. I'll pass. And he go, well, Dana, we got a hotel business to run. You got to run this UFC thing. No.
Man, he's got to be kicking himself too. He could be that billionaire Dana White.
Yeah, but John's a billionaire making movies now, so drives a Bentley around Hollywood.
Yeah.
But who knew? It was the event was on life support.
Yep.
And they wanted out. They blew like $45-46 million trying to get it over. And it got taken off. It got taken off of pay-per-view, and they said, Dana, get me out of this. We got to try to strike a TV. When they did that TV deal, the only network that would take it was Spike, because
they had to pay him. They had to pay him to put it on. It's so crazy.
$10 million. Well,
Yeah.
those networks don't buy shows. You gotta buy the time. You know,
Yeah.
they're not in the business of buying events. These cable networks. It's like you got a sponsor, you got advertising, you got to pay for the time, and that was the last check. And
Yeah, that was the best investment ever.
and it was on free TV for the first time with Forrest Griffin, Stefan Bonner, rest his soul, going toe to toe. It was crazy.
We had
Yep.
Stefan Bonner on before, rest in peace, that he passed too, and
Yeah.
he's got a bunch of little tiny dogs, and he's like out walking his dogs when we did the podcast. It was really funny. He's like a really cool guy.
He was a real cool guy.
Stefan Bonner was a cool guy. He had his demons too. Tried to burn his house down and everything. Yeah. He was a good guy. You know what happens? You know, guy was a college grad. He was a Gracie student, Chicago, and you know, once he got in the UFC, started making some money. You're a fucking big star now, and all goes to your head, and you start partying and you know, and he just didn't quit. Took its toll.
Yeah, sucks. It sucks. It does.
You know, Chuck Liddell, he got what, knocked out in 5 of his last 6 fights or something like that, you know, with one punch. And
he was awful last fight too.
yeah, and but he's smart because he had an accounting degree from Cal Poly, so he knew how to manage his money. Yeah, he lives in Calabasas now, I think.
Yeah, he'd be a good one to get on too. Ray's trying to get him.
Well, Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck.
We had Hackman on. He was an awesome guy.
Who? Hackman. Yeah. Yeah, but his Hackelman, his gravy train's over.
Hey, Charlie, when are you coming back to Buffalo?
July 13th. I leave the 18th.
You missed it. We were talking about the disco before Ray got here. Ray was late, like always. So Ray missed the disco. Me and Charlie had a whole disco conversation before Ray got here in the green room.
Oh yeah,
it's the most fun event ever. My nephew, who's like in his late 40s, I think he just turned 50 maybe. He went to the World's Largest Disco for the first time with a girl last year, and he goes, "I've never seen so many hot, cute girls. Where do these girls do 364 days here in Buffalo? I've never seen these girls." You know, and it's like there are thousands of them. He goes, I can't believe all these girls.
I got to go to the disco party then. I got to dress up in my white suit.
Oh yeah.
Right in a disco, all the lights will bounce off your head. You look great.
Yeah. Yeah, wear yourself a zoot suit like Dr. Buzzard Savannah Band.
Zoot suit riot and a bottle of beer. Got a zoot suit riot.
Yeah, the old 70s zoot suit look like August Darnell.
Hey, Caveman, we gotta get Charlie in a K4 event when he comes to Buffalo.
Yeah, he could be the ring announcer.
I could do that. Yeah. You know what I did when Angelo Castricone did an event years back? I came back to Buffalo to visit. I went and guest ring announced one of the events.
Yeah, he's having his show soon in October too. I forgot the date. No, it's November.
I'll be back October 6th and 7th for my COVID delayed 50th class reunion. And then I'll be back again on the 21st, that long weekend, for my godchild's wedding.
Cool, man. We can get you over to Castricone's too. Hopefully I have a couple guys fighting on the card too.
Me and Angelo kicked ass as promoters, and we got together. I said, "Look, I'll get the sponsor money. You put the fighters together. I'll put the asses in the seats." Mm-hmm. And that's we made a deal with Molson beer distributor.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the Molson Kickboxing Classic, and we did like 6, 7, 8, 9 shows. Everyone made money.
Hey, Caveman, maybe we could get Bud Light sponsor us. Just a corny joke. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, and get tranny ring girls. Oh, that'd be hot.
Oh my goodness.
But
Hey, did you ever work with Mark Hall at all?
who?
Did you Mark Hall at all?
No, I didn't. Never worked with him. He tried to steal Joel Sutton for an event. I called him. I said, "Don't you ever call him. Call me direct."
Ooh.
Yeah.
We had him on the podcast, and like this is what this podcast already released, so we can talk about it. He was talking about all this God stuff, and then the next thing he told us was like, like when you duct tape hookers and you put them in your trunk. We're like, what? And then he's like, can you just cut that part out? And we're like, no.
Yeah.
That was the
He was
craziest
begging,
thing I've ever heard on the
begging me all
podcast
week
so
to cut it off.
It took so long to edit it because he's got that stutter, so I had to edit all the
Yeah.
stutters out. That was. I spent like 4 hours working on that one. It was.
That's when he rolled. That's when he rolled over when he fought Don Fry.
Yeah.
Because they were managed by the same guy, and they fixed all the fights.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's well known. Yeah.
Now, they were saying a lot of the Pride fight was fixed.
You know, a lot of pancreas, I think, were works. When I was told, my people over there, Pride, who knows? You don't know. They just paid so much money. You did whatever. But I can tell you, they would come to our rooms with manila envelopes after the fight with cash and $100 bills, $10, $15, $20, $25,000. But you couldn't take all that money back. You can't bring more than $10,000 in or out of the country. So Ken Shamrock told me this trick. He used to have a bank account in Japan, I guess. And he used to deposit all his money, he made a lot of money with Pancrase over there. He's a big star. And he goes, every time I sent my fighters over there to fight in Pancrase, I'd make a withdrawal and I'd give them each like $5,000 a piece to bring back to me. So when we got paid, I think it was with Gary Goodrich or one of them, or one of the Valley Tudos we did that I had Harold Howard in, the World Valley Tudo Championship. We fought Hugo Duarte and a bunch of people. Anyway, we had all this cash. And before we went to the airport, okay, you take 6,000, 7,000, you take 6,000, you take 7,000, 10,000, 8,000. And we go through customs. Do you have more than $10,000 on with you? No. As soon as you get through customs, get our bag. Here's your money. And I take my
Coleman to sneak it through, like he did with Pride. He was telling us how he snuck all the money back into the country. We're like, oh shit, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Cash, envelope, manila envelopes. Pilot, a little Japanese girl that worked for Pride and all that, and K1 came to your room. Here's your pay for tonight's event. Big manila envelope, full, $10,000, $50,000, $20,000, $100 bill. Cash.
That's the best.
No tax. Oh, did I say that?
I did not hear that. The IRS agents that are watching that did not hear that.
Still, the statute of limitations is up.
I hope so.
Yeah, 25 years ago. But UFC is going to be 30 years old. God damn.
Yeah.
Just joined, so not sure if it was discussed. Wondering if Mr. Anzalone has any stories about Adrian Adonis. Dark Side of the Ring is releasing an episode on him on Tuesday, so it'd be cool to hear any stories.
Adrian Adonis, Keith Frankie, he was one of the toughest kids on the West Side. I was president of my frat for 2 years, Kappa Phi Sigma. I had 5 chapters, about 120 members of my gang. And we ruled Gastown and North Tonawanda. We had a big chapter in Amherst, Lancaster, North Main, near UB. And he was in, was he in KB or Phi Beta? I'm not sure which one. And he was a tough kid on the West Side. And then he became a professional wrestler.
Wait, he was from Buffalo? I didn't know he was from Buffalo. Adrian.
West Side. Oh yeah, Keith Frankie. Shit, yeah. He was a bad boy in high school there on the West Side. Yeah. And he was a good amateur, good collegiate high school collegiate wrestler. Yeah. Yeah. He liked.
Watching. They've been posting about Adrian Adonis a lot lately.
Yeah, he liked the party. Oh yeah, they're promoting this Dark Side of the Ring. It's a shame how he died.
Yeah.
You read about how they robbed him.
No, how did they rob him?
The truck with the referees and the ring were following them in the van. They swerved to miss a big moose and went down an embankment into like a river. Well, one of the guys in the van survived. And what happened was the other guys in the truck with they pulled over, they went down, thought they were all fucking dead, started picking their pockets. And Adrian had like $25,000, $30,000 in cash, his wife said, from a promotion they did a couple nights before. They used to get paid in cash. They traveled from event to event. Motherfuckers robbed him. And the other guy, yeah. And the one guy who survived, he ended up, I guess, testifying against them. They arrested him and they got the money back. Yeah, the motherfuckers. And they said he really didn't die for the accident, that he drowned or whatever. They said they ran down there. If they could have helped him. They could have, kept him from drowning,
Man, I didn't know any of that. I knew about the accident, but I didn't know he got robbed. Wow.
Yeah. Sabu did a good, there's an interview with Sabu about that.
I'll just check that out too. I learned a lot from this podcast already. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Keith Frankie, boy, he liked the party, boy. He used to like the cheese.
Wow, I didn't know he was from Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. All the Kicks must have been a crazy place to be at back in the day. Like, you seem to know all the partier guys. So, seems like you had a pretty interesting life.
Oh, in the 80s, it was Mulligan's, man. That was the club. Yeah. I loved DJing there in the 80s. I DJed for like 3 years.
Hey, Charlie. Back in your disco days, did you ever go to Studio 54?
I was there once in the late 70s during the Billboard Disco Convention. I went again in the 80s after the second group of owners tried to reopen it and make it happen. We were at the Billboard Disco Convention, and the deal Bill Wardlow made with Steve Rubel, the studio, that if you had your credentials from the Billboard Disco Forum, you got to go in. Well, he reneged on that. So very few people got in. I was outside in the sweaty summer fucking heat for 2 hours. Finally, a guy I know from a record label said, Charlie, what are you come in with me, I'll get you in. So I'm going in there looking for my friends. Well, I'm walking in. You went through the doors, you went down this long hallway into the club. This was an old theater. And my friends are walking out. So where the hell you been? Man, we've been here for 2 hours partying. I said, yeah, I've been outside sweating my balls off outside for 2 hours. I had great DJs, yeah. When were you open in the 80s? John Siglia from Buffalo, he DJ'd there when he had moved to New York. But in the 80s, the Wall Street yuppies and their coke and attitudes and, really fucked up the vibe. We're in the late 70s, the original studio. It was black, gay, straight, white, Latino, whatever, all came together and partied together. And but in the 80s, they had that attitude, and it sort of sucked. That's when people started going back to Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, going to the clubs there, like Elephas and Queens and all these other clubs. Yeah. Did you ever see the VH1 special I did?
No.
You didn't?
No. We're old, man. Or we're young, man. We're not as old as you, so.
This thing was done in 2006.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it, but I got to see it. I probably
go on YouTube. Yep. It's called When Disco Ruled the World.
Okay, you was on there too, right? Was you?
Oh yeah, I'm on there more than anybody. Yeah.
I'm typing that in right now. I'm jamming it.
There's a British version too. There's a British version, and then there's the one that VH1 did. You see it.
Yeah, there it is on YouTube. That's for sale too. I hope you made some money on that. I hope you got some royalties.
Shit, I got nothing. Yeah, I got famous.
Yeah, it's on YouTube and it's on. You can buy it from Amazon too. I just looked at it right now and I searched it.
I definitely gonna check that out.
And before my battery runs out. I got plugged in. It's not charging for some reason. Anyway, I just did a podcast, a DJ podcast too. That's on YouTube.
Cool.
If you want to type that, you'll love this one. You'll love this one. It's called Road Podcast, ROAD podcast. Reflections of a DJ, episode 282. Oh, you piss your pants. It's funny as hell.
Hey, Caveman, could you put the link in the comments here?
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. It's on SoundCloud. It's all over. It's everywhere. Yeah. Bring it up. I'm gonna put the link right in here so you guys can all see it. I'm doing Ray's job because Ray is not.
Hey,
There's the comments, guys. You can just click on that and it'll take you to it.
cool.
Oh, it's a fun pod. Those are some of the top resident DJs in Las Vegas. I did it with my buddies. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll let you out of here before your phone kicks out. You got anything you want to plug or sponsor while I got you here?
No, but I hope to see you guys when I'm back.
We would love to see you. We gotta get some good food.
Oh yeah.
I heard Ray, you guys went out last time, right?
Oh yeah, we went to Bobby J's.
Yep.
God damn it. I was
great
just out with
spot.
Charlie. I was like, why did you he didn't tell me until after you guys went out that you guys were going out.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
I said, let's
you
go to
was
Bobby
busy,
J's.
man. You was busy.
I always got to pay my respects to the Desiderios. Absolutely.
I can make time for Charlie. Like I can make time for sure.
You definitely gotta go somewhere to eat.
Yeah, we'll do something. We'll do something. Yeah. I'll have more time this time. Usually I'm at 3-4 days I'm out. I'll be there for a week.
We'll put on a Caveman Corner tab. We'll charge it to the podcast. We'll write it off.
Yeah, we treat you.
Yeah, it's our turn to treat you. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully you and Ray do a good job with Ken tomorrow. If he doesn't come on, make sure you guys blast him.
Okay. And
tell some terrible stories like when he forgot his cup or something.
Forgot his cup. There's some fun times back then.
Ooh, I bet.
Oh man.
Tell some embarrassing stories like getting divorced or something.
No, I told you the one from an ex-wife. She'd be looking for him, asking Andy Anderson. Then he said he's with me. Then, we were both lying. So it was like obvious. But yeah, it was fun. Those are the fun days. And I'm glad I lived it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
August 3rd. August 3rd, man. I'm going to be 70 fucking years old.
God damn, dude. You look so good for 70.
And I survived all that shit. Watch
Red coat, but you look pretty good.
Watch the podcast, the Road Podcast. You'll love it.
I got it queued up here, so I have
it. It goes into a detail.
Oh man.
My bad boy days.
Oh man.
I seen that one picture you had with the ladies from they was from Bolivia.
Oh, the girl from Bolivia?
In the hotel, you had two ladies.
Oh, that was fucking nuts. I was but we went to the private Nazi club, the private German club that night with a friend of mine who we met. He was the economic advisor for the Bolivian Armed Forces. Great guys. Pepe Antonelli was his name. I'm going to take you to the private German club. They look through the little thing. They frisk us when we get in. And all these this is back in the early 80s, like 83, 84. There's all these old Nazis. They're drinking beer, eating, talking German because they had no extradition treaty. And we were so fucked up. We had these two girls, took them out of their club, and all the guys at the club wanted to kill us for taking their fucking girls. And got back to the hotel. I was told I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't do anything. She looked at me. She goes, "Mucha coca, no más."
Hey, Charlie, it's crazy how many Nazis in South America.
Oh yeah, Uruguay, Paraguay, La Paz, big German community in La Paz for that very reason. Yeah. They all went down there to get away.
I'm gonna dive into conspiracy theory territory here, even though I'm trying to sign out the podcast. Do you think that Hitler escaped and lived somewhere else?
Fuck no, he was too stupid to escape.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get captured because Stalin said he was going to put him in a cage and put him on display in Moscow. Oh no, he didn't want that.
Yeah,
He's done.
yeah, because
Man, you guys shut down all my fun. I don't know.
I was watching a documentary about all the botched executions for the Nuremberg trial.
Mhm.
The guy who did the noose and the rope, he didn't put enough length on it to have them drop enough based on their weight to snap their neck. So out of like 18 that were hung, 6 of them fucking strangled to death. And this one guy, he was dangling for 18 minutes. Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, the guy fucked up with the noose. Ooh. Well, he weighs this much. He's got to drop this distance. Well, he fucked up, and it wasn't enough to snap his neck. Ooh.
That's
So they
rough.
let him. So they
Man,
let
we
him
went
choke.
dark.
So they let him choke to death.
We went dark. We went to Nazis and killing people. Oh my God. It's like we got Mark Hall on the podcast. All right. Thank you so much for being on. We're going to see you tomorrow. Hopefully, Ken's really late and I can be back in time for the end of the podcast so I can jump in and be like, no, I'm just kidding. If he comes on, dude, it'd be great to have him on. But if he doesn't come on, that's like 4 times in a row he stiffed us. So talk some shit about Valor.
We get David Feldman on tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll
And
get
Charlie
him.
will talk to him.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Like always, like and subscribe. Please help us support the podcast. Shoot us some stars or Facebook, whatever. However you send us money, we'll take it all. And we appreciate having you guys on. Thank you, guys. Peace.
All right. It was fun. Talk to you soon.